Let's reduce the 311 million Americans to just a representative 100 people. Make it simple. Here they are: teachers, coaches, firefighters, construction workers, engineers, doctors, lawyers, some investment bankers, a CEO, maybe a celebrity or two. Now let's line them up according to their wealth. Poorest people on the left, wealthiest on the right, just a steady row of folks based on their net worth. We'll color code them like we did before based on which 20% quintile they fall into. Now let's reduce the total wealth of the United States, which was roughly $54 trillion in 2009, to this symbolic pile of cash. And let's distribute it among our 100 Americans. Well, here's socialism, all the wealth of the country distributed equally. We all know that won't work. We need to encourage people to work and work hard to achieve that good old American dream and keep our country moving forward. So, here's that ideal we asked everyone about. Something like this curve. This isn't too bad. We've got some incentive, as the wealthiest folks are now about 10 to 20 times better off than the poorest Americans. But hey, even the poor folks aren't actually poor, since the poverty line has stayed almost entirely off the chart. We have a super healthy middle class with a smooth transition into wealth. And yes, Republicans and Democrats alike chose this curve. 9 out of 10 people, 92%, said this was a nice, ideal distribution of America's wealth. But let's move on. This is what people think America's wealth distribution actually looks like. Not as equitable, clearly, but for me, even this still looks pretty great. Yes, the poorest 20 to 30% are starting to suffer quite a lot compared to the ideal, and the middle class is certainly struggling more than they were, while the rich and wealthy are making roughly 100 times that of the poorest Americans, and about 10 times that of the still healthy middle class. Sadly, this isn't even close to the reality. Here is the actual distribution of wealth in America. The poorest Americans don't even register. They're down to pocket change. And the middle class is barely distinguishable from the poor. In fact, even the rich between the top 10 and 20 percentile are worse off. Only the top 10% are better off. And how much better off? So much better off that the top 2 to 5% are actually off the chart at this scale. And the top 1%, this guy, well, his stack of money stretches 10 times higher than we can show. Here's his stack of cash, restacked, all by itself. This is the top 1% we've been hearing so much about. So much green in his pockets that I have to give him a whole new column of his own, because he won't fit on my chart. 1% of America has 40% of all the nation's wealth. The bottom 80%, 8 out of every 10 people, or 80 out of these 100, only has 7% between them. And this has only gotten worse in the last 20 to 30 years. While the richest 1% take home almost a quarter of the national income today, in 1976 they took home only 9%, meaning their share of income has nearly tripled in the last 30 years. The top 1% own half the country's stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. The bottom 50% of Americans own only 0.5% of these investments, which means they aren't investing. They're just scraping by. I'm sure many of these wealthy people have worked very hard for their money, but do you really believe that the CEO is working 380 times harder than his average employee? Not his lowest paid employee, not the janitor, but the average earner in his company. The average worker needs to work more than a month to earn what the CEO makes in 1 hour. We certainly don't have to go all the way to socialism to find something that is fair for hardworking Americans. We don't even have to achieve what most of us consider might be ideal. All we need to do is wake up and realize that the reality in this country is not at all what we think it is.
America's middle class has been the envy of the world for decades, with its idyllic suburban homes, fancy cars, and white picket fences. But a comprehensive new study shows that America has lost yet another #1 ranking. America's middle class is no longer the richest in the world. David Leonard is the editor of The Upshot, the Times' data crunching website and column. And he and his team analyzed over 3 decades worth of income data and came to this and other startling conclusions. He joins me now. It's a fabulous project. And the most startling piece of data was this shift that has taken place in the American middle class. And the way you looked, one way of looking at it, which you presented, was if you look at the median income of an American, and that's not the richest person, not the poorest person, the person smack in the middle. And I think the Census Bureau defines it at about $50,000 a year. Someone earning $50,000 a year. Look at this chart. Since 1981, that's what's happened.
It's not a good story, is it? Since 1980, in 1981, we had by far the richest middle class in the world. And what has happened since then is that income growth in these other countries has been substantially faster for the middle class and the poor. Now, this is after-tax income. That's a question a lot of people have. It's after-tax income. It includes direct government benefits, things like Social Security. So this is really what people have to spend. And it's really worrisome. And it's not just a 30-year trend. You also see it if you look since 2000. In some ways, it's more pronounced in the last 15 years.
This is the stunning one. So you see that all those other countries had much stronger income growth at the median level. But then since 2000, I mean, the United States barely grew at all.
Yeah. And so the obvious question is what's going on here? And there are a few things going on here. One, we have had economic growth that is quite similar to many of these other countries. Obviously, we've had
overall
faster
economic growth.
Yes, faster growth than Spain, particularly recently. Right. But it's not as if the U.S. is growing a lot faster than Sweden or than Canada. It's quite similar. But more of the bounty of our growth goes to a smaller group of people. So our economy gives more money to the executives at the top. And since the bounty as a whole, the pie as a whole, is growing similarly, if you give more of that to fewer people, there's less left over for everybody else. Not only do we have more pre-tax inequality, but those other countries then do more to, and it's a dirty word here, right, redistribute income. They do. Canada, these northern European countries do more after people get it to say we're going to take money from people at the top and give it to people at the bottom. But 3, I think, is really important. It's an issue I know you've talked a lot about, which is education. I know there's this whole notion out there, oh, is education overrated? And to be self-critical of the media for a minute, sometimes we fan that in a way that's not healthy. Education is not overrated. These other countries have done a much better job educating their population. If you look at how many college graduates they're producing, if you look at their skills on technology or literacy or numeracy, that makes it easier to create good-paying jobs. And one of the reasons we're falling behind is because we're falling behind in education. We used to lead the world in education and in income. We don't.
For millions of people, banking is broken.
The implications are massive. The middle class is breaking at its foundation.
They're increasingly turning to alternative financial services like check cashers and payday lenders.
I was broke and I felt like I didn't have the option.
It just feels like regardless of how many nights I don't sleep, of how many jobs I try to find, it's just not enough.
I see this commercial that looks like it will fix all of my problems.
People often judge me on the choices I've made, not knowing the options that I had.
And so the spiral begins. At the same time, my mom was diagnosed with cancer.
People are struggling.
I was trying to keep her life normal while my life was sinking.
They're working 2, 3 jobs. They have families to provide for.
$200 a month in check cashing fees and bill pay fees.
They are making money off of the fact that people are outside of the banking system.
I have to pay a fee for using my own money.
I was paying $900, nothing towards the principal.
People are paying 7% for basic financial services. In contrast, I earn 2 to 3%.
The picture of the financially unstable is you and me.
This is your nanny who's taking care of your children. This is the admin in your office.
This is everybody's problem.
If you could put $100 billion back into the economy, that's meaningful.
I know where I want to go. I can see my company growing, I can taste it, I can smell it.
Now it's time to rebuild my life and be who I'm supposed to be.
Here is an amazing fact. Most people start out in their 20s working for a better life. They work 45 years to achieve their dreams with the goal of retirement. Yet statistically, for every 100 people who reach the age of 65, 1% are wealthy, either because they inherited their wealth or they owned their own business. 4% are financially fit or independent. 5% are still working. 28% are dead, probably because they worked themselves to death. And 62% are just flat broke, living paycheck to paycheck, requiring assistance from the government, family, or charity. After 45 years of hard work, 95% of people don't make it. They tread back and forth between home and work, simply trading time for money, creating a rut to bury their hopes and dreams. Most people don't plan to be in the 95%, but by the time they realize it, they are stuck, drowning in boredom, bills, credit card debt, and a fixed income. The reason? 95% of people spend up to 45 years of their lives making the other 5% successful. They work a plan for someone else's financial success, not their own. So what are your options to earn additional income? What is your plan B? Work more hours? Get a second job? Own your own business? What kind of business would you start? Would you buy a franchise? Would you join a multi-level or network marketing company? Of the 5% who succeed, 3 out of 4 do so by owning their own business. But what are the risks? Large startup expenses and high overhead costs. Can you give up the security of your present job and income? Then there's the possibility of failure or bankruptcy. And even if you do succeed, you are stuck to your business. What about investments? Have the expertise in real estate or stocks? An inheritance? Go back to school? Win the lottery? Although there are options, they are unrealistic. They take too much time and require too much money. But there is a way out. There is an alternative to the 45-year plan.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it.
Yeah.
Period. It's that simple.
I know who I am, and I know what I believe.
I know who I am, I know what I believe.
That's all I need to know.
And that's all I need to know. So from there, you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what happens is we make the situation more complex than it has to be.
Because we're looking for complexity. There's got to be something complex to understand.
It can't be that easy.
No.
We didn't grow up with the sense that where we were was where we were going to be. You know, we grew up with the sense that where we were almost didn't matter because
we were becoming
right. Something greater.
For being there, money is not your mission. Money funds your mission, but money is not your mission. And because you think money is your only mission, if you're not paid correctly, you get frustrated. But your job is only supposed to be one financial stream. It's not supposed to be your only financial stream. When God set Adam in the Garden of Eden, he gave him 4 different rivers. You ought to have 4 different streams of income that feed you, so you're not just depending on one stream when there are 3 more that ought to be feeding you. There are some places that God may send you to work where they can't pay you hardly anything at all. But if you got your stream set up, then money won't be your God and it won't control every decision you make. And you won't have to prostitute yourself for the highest bidder all the time. Increase your revenue streams so that you can separate the money from the mission. I think this is some worthwhile stuff. If I had time, I'd talk about some of the streams that are available to you. Look, when you want to know the streams that are available to you, first of all, you should look at the gifts that you have. If you haven't run out of gifts, you haven't run out of streams. Every gift you have is a stream. Every gift you have is a stream. Don't let people compartmentalize you, because people often want to do this. Once they define that you can do one thing, they want that to be the sum total of everything that you do. I tell people, I'm a preacher, I'm called to preach, I love to preach, but that's not my only gift. So I still want to write a little bit. That's another stream that I want to use. Everywhere I had a gift was a stream. If you have the ability, David could do business, that was a stream. David could fight battles, that was a stream. David could play instruments, that was a stream. Everything they listed about David became a stream for him. Everything God put in you, when God created you, before you ever even got here, he buried all of these gifts down inside of you, so that as you live your life, you could draw from what he put in you. And if you're not out of gifts, you're not out of streams, baby. The job is only one place. Stop expecting your job to fund your vision. Your vision is probably bigger than your paycheck, because God wanted you to have 4 streams in your Garden of Eden and not just one. One of them was gold. One of them was bdellium. You've got to diversify your streams, or you won't maintain your garden, and you'll misuse your mission because you're overly worried about the money. I believe with all of my heart that Christians should come to the point that we are not led by dollars. I don't believe that God sent us in the world to be prostituted, where we have to make every decision based on how much will you give me? How much will you give me? How much will you? There are some things that you ought to do simply because it's in your heart, simply because it's in your spirit, simply because it's your passion, simply because it ignites you, simply because it motivates you. And if you increase your streams, I'd like to talk more about the streams. I'd like to talk about an investment stream in your life, so your money's working for you while you sleep. Yeah. I'd like to talk to you about developing extracurricular streams of income that don't eat up all of your time, because your time is premium, and if you have to give up another 8 hours to get it, that's too much. That eats into your life, destroys your happiness, and makes you fatigued. So as you consider other revenues or streams, consider your time as a premium product, because all you have of life is time. All you have of life is time. You want to increase your stream without losing all your time. When you look for something that increases your stream without eating up all of your time. Is that okay? Okay. When you look for possible revenue streams, look for your giftings. The greater the gifting, the broader the stream. And look for non-traditional giftings. It doesn't always have to be traditional giftings. One woman made millions of dollars because she had beautiful hands. And somebody saw her hands and wanted to sport their rings on her hands. She didn't have a beautiful body, she didn't have a beautiful face, but people paid her money to put their rings on her hands and photograph her hands. Some people get positions because of their personality. It's not always their education. They just have the kind of personality that represents the company well. Some people get hired because they have a pleasant voice on the phone. Anything you do well is a stream. Don't let people lock you down just because you found one stream. So people always want to say, so she is a beautician, he is a preacher, he is a doctor. You are only limited by your own creativity. When people say this is what you are and you say yes, you have limited yourself to one stream. Could it be possible that there are things in you that I gotta quit? I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna quit. I'll do the rest of 11 o'clock. Could it be possible that there are things in you you haven't touched yet? I mean, at any age and stage in life, could some of your frustration be that life hasn't used up your resources? Stop waiting on good stuff to happen to you. If you know you got another stream, identify that stream, market that stream, put that stream out, and don't prostitute all your time to use your stream. Because all life is time. And the more of your time you give up, the more of your life you give up, and make sure that the part of your life you give up is worth what you get in return. You're bartering with life. Every day of your life is a bartering session. All that you have of life is time, and you don't know how much time you have. So when you give your time, you've given your life, and make sure you've given your life for something that's worth it to you. Either economically, spiritually, emotionally. Make sure that you're getting a return for the investment of your days. For the Bible says, as a man's days are, so shall thy strength be. I gotta quit. I gotta stop.
Never be a point in your time in your life where it's the right time to do a great thing. If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation.
So that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like, jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you. It may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason.
If you're not where you are, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, if you're not where you think you should be at this particular place, it has nothing to do with the system, but it has everything to do with the fact that you're not making the sacrifice. I want you to make that dream become a reality, because if you don't, you will be working for somebody else to make their dreams become a reality.
When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong?
You will never ever be successful until you turn your pain into greatness, until you allow your pain to push you from where you are to push you to where you need to be. Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize, a part of your product. I challenge you to push yourself.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. The biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, see, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die, die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish.
Hi, this is Sandy Botkin, author of the best-selling book, Lower Your Taxes Big Time. Over the past 20 years, I have taught thousands of home-based business owners how to save millions on their taxes. I spent 3 years in the tax department of the international accounting firm Touche Ross, and also 5 years as a legal specialist in the Office of the Chief Counsel for the Internal Revenue Service. Currently, I'm the CEO of the Tax Reduction Institute. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to explain why you'd be brain dead not to have a home-based business. I believe you will find that this is going to be the most important 4 minutes of your life when it comes to your financial future. So you may want to take some notes and put aside anything that might distract you. First of all, I want to emphasize something right up front. The rich know something that most people don't know. They have a secret. And the secret is that we have 2 tax systems in the United States. Now, when I say that, most people think that there's one for the rich and one for the poor, and that's not quite true. There's one to make you rich, and then there's one to make you poor. There's one for employees, which is designed to take your wealth and make you poor, because you are taxed on $1. And then there's one for self-employed individuals, which is designed to create economic growth. And the reason for that is that small business generates over 70% of the job growth in North America. It is not IBM, it's not Microsoft or American Airlines, it's small business. So Congress passes good tax laws for small business. In fact, the important point is that small business get to take deductions first before they pay any taxes, unlike employees who have to pay taxes on $1. You can save big money by taking advantage of these good tax laws. And these laws are available to you in business, whether it's in full-time in business or part-time or just in your spare time. It doesn't matter as long as you run your business with an honest expectation of profit, which means you're really trying to make money. In fact, if you know what you're doing in a small business, you have the potential to write off part of your house, your spouse, the equivalent of your kids' education and weddings. I'm not kidding when I say that, by the way. You can set up a pension plan that makes any government plan seem paltry by comparison. The potential is just enormous. Good proof of this was illustrated by a lady named Jane Bryan Quinn. Jane Bryan Quinn is a nationally syndicated economist. You may have heard of her. She is a nationally known commentator on personal finance, with books and columns read and trusted by millions. She did a study of a couple who made $40,000 a year. And $40,000 didn't go that far. So the husband said to the wife, honey, you got to go out and get a job, which he did, and she made an extra $20,000. Now they're looking at their bank account, and they see no difference at the end of the year. I mean, she's making $20,000 more than she made the year before. What's going on? Did you ever hear that you have to have 2 incomes to make it in this country? Do you know why? You're about to get a 6-month financial planning course in the next few minutes. Follow along as I show you why the extra job was the wrong decision. The following example is based on 2009 tax rates. On that $20,000, they have to pay $4,845 in new federal and state taxes. Most of that was non-deductible. They have to pay Social Security of 7.65%. On $20,000, that's $1,530 of Social Security, which is non-deductible. We assume that they drove 10 miles a day round trip. And that's probably pretty conservative, I think. But let's go with that. 10 miles a day round trip, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year at IRS's current 55-cent a mile rate. That's $1,430 of commuting, which is non-deductible. We assume lunch is at work, and we assume that they spent $7 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. That's $1,750 of lunches, which is non-deductible. We assume that you have to have clothing, better clothing, in fact, if you're working, more upkeep, because now you're working, you're going to have more dry cleaning, and that's gone up by at least $1,200 over not working. And finally, with both spouses working, you think they want to cook? Heck no! They want to eat out, where their food costs have gone up by at least $2,000. And what about childcare? I bet you they spend at least $125 a week in our example. And I'm not sure we can get childcare for 3 kids for $125. But $125 a week, 50 weeks a year is $6,250 in childcare. Most of that is non-deductible. In fact, all you get is a little bit of a credit on that. Out of the $20,000 that they've earned from the part-time job, they are only left with a staggering $995 a year. They're putting in tons of hours working, they're putting up with a commute, and they're putting up with a boss that is spelled backwards double S-O-B. You know, I know it sounds funny, but it really isn't. And people are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and nobody is able to watch the kids. So what's the answer? The answer is to take advantage of the greatest tax write-offs available in America. And that is by having a home-based business and working that business like a business. Nothing can be better than that. Because if you know what you're doing, you can write off, as I mentioned, part of your house, your spouse, the equivalent of your kids' education and weddings. You can set up a pension plan that makes any government plan seem paltry by comparison, and there's much more than just the tax benefits. For example, you get tremendous time freedom. You can work out of your home. You dictate your own hours and not be subject to the boss's whims. If you need to go somewhere or go to your kids' basketball games or go to your son's or daughter's music lessons or concerts, you can do that. There's no commute. There's no liability or very little liability with home-based businesses. You don't have any employees. And you can make unlimited income. And that's probably the most important factor for having a home-based business. There is no glass ceiling of any type. Having a home-based business is probably the smartest thing that anyone can do. And what amazes me is that people will work overtime to try to get ahead in a company, when frankly they should be putting in as little time as possible to avoid getting fired and getting a part-time home-based business going. Who knows? Maybe that business will generate enough money where you can quit your job altogether. Wouldn't that be nice? That's the point. Having a home-based business will generate enormous benefits for yourself and your family. It's something you should really consider, and it will make your life a lot less taxing. I would strongly encourage you to carefully evaluate and get started with your own home-based business today. The tax benefits are incredible, but a home business has so much more to offer. Extra income, being your own boss, financial security, setting your own hours, working from the comfort of your home, more time with family, and the list goes on and on. Most importantly, you are working on your dream instead of someone else's. Now that's the beautiful thing.
News 10 NBC, covering Rochester and all of Western New York. Coverage you can count on. This is News 10 NBC at 6.
Hello. This new technology allows you to connect face-to-face with friends and family anywhere in the world. A local company is making it happen. Good evening. I'm Janet Lomax.
I'm Pat McGonigal in for Rich tonight. Telecommunications has hit a new level. What you used to only see in the movies or cartoons is now a reality and affordable.
5 Links Enterprises in Henrietta is bringing this latest technology to the world, and it's also bringing new jobs to Rochester.
5 Links Enterprises, headquartered in Henrietta, is expanding its operations.
This project represents a $6.8 million investment in the community
and will create 133 new local jobs over the next year.
I can't think of another place in the country that's better suited to grow a rapidly growing telecom company like ours.
5 Links takes telephone calls to another level. Hello. Instead of old phone lines, it uses broadband internet.
As long as you have broadband internet, a connection to hook it up to, away you go.
Most people today don't know they actually can make a video call from their home, and it's affordable. So as they become more aware, we really feel that that's where the future is going to go with video technology.
A year ago, a Penfield man started a nonprofit organization to help narrow the gap between those troops and their loved ones here in the U.S. The foundation, called See Your Troops, provides free video phones and even pays the bill. Emily Smith joins us now with an update on that foundation.
That's right. Well, it's taken almost about a year to do this, but there are actually phones now set up in places like Baghdad and Afghanistan. In fact, there are 15 video phones in cafes in Baghdad now being used by American fighters. But there's just one problem. The nonprofit organization still needs to get the okay from armories and other centers right here in Rochester and all over New York State to help these local families make the connection. So far, most of Pennsylvania and Hawaii are the ones on board. It's a telephone system right out of the Jetsons.
I'm actually running this off of my computer.
The phone connected to the internet dials just like a regular phone. And the sound and picture is clear with almost no delay.
As far as my knowledge goes, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Jim.
We're actually talking to Master Sergeant Warren Harris from his base in Hawaii. Harris says the technology has really boosted morale.
You're defending your country in a foreign land, and you're able to reach back and touch your family back in the United States or anywhere else in the world.
There are now 15 of these Global Links video phones set up in Baghdad cafes and more set up in other areas, including Afghanistan. Hopper says it's taken almost a year to do, partly because of the military's fear of too much information coming from the front lines.
They're on like private cafes. They have a lot of internet cafes over in Iraq, for example, now that are set up for the soldiers.
Thanks to the concept, designed partly by Hopper and the Henrietta telecommunications company 5Links, these $250 phones are donated to Armory, Guard, and Reserve centers, and the phone bill is even taken care of. All families have to do is show up.
Introducing the next evolution in the Global Links family of products, the GSP-10. The GSP-10 is the Global Links soft phone that enables VoIP calls from a computer anywhere a broadband internet connection is available. Never again will you be out of touch with your coworkers, friends, and loved ones. Now you can quickly and easily make free or low-cost calls around the world from the convenience of your computer. This product has all the features of our best-in-class Global Links service, including on-the-go portability and convenience, 4-way conference calling, HD quality, no hassle recording. Now save even more when traveling. Use your computer to call back to the US, Canada, or any Global Links customer worldwide at no additional charge. All you will need is a broadband internet connection, compatible computer, and an active Global Links video phone account. Sign up now to be part of the next evolution of the Global Links line of products, the GSP-10.
Freedom, integrity, vision, opportunity, success. These are the principles upon which 5Links Enterprises was founded, and from which it continues to draw strength. For the last decade, 5Links has seen explosive growth, largely due to its steadfast dedication and adherence to these principles. 5Links was born from the leadership of 3 successful businessmen: Craig Jarabek, Jeb Tyler, and Jason Guck. Each was committed to creating a company that improved upon their previous experiences in the direct selling industry. Their vision centered around one core philosophy.
We said, we wanted to create an opportunity where we can put people first. So that's where our model came from, was putting representatives first.
From this one unifying philosophy, the company's 5 principles were established. And from these principles was born the name 5Links. Each co-founder brings a unique perspective and skill to the company, the result of over 60 years combined experience in network marketing and direct sales. President and CEO Craig Jarabek ensures the efficiency and quality of corporate operations. Executive Vice President of Sales Jason Guck interfaces with the 5Links representative base, creating new product and revenue opportunities. Executive Vice President of Marketing Jeb Tyler oversees marketing, training, and the life-changing 5Links regional and national events. Together, Craig, Jason, and Jeb form the backbone of a rapidly growing company that has revolutionized the network marketing industry. The 5Links business model is based on growing and supporting a network of entrepreneurial individuals who are empowered to build a residual income stream by offering a wide range of products and services essential for the home and business. From the principles it was founded on and documented industry success, to its charitable work and unique and ever-growing product offerings, there's no better time to be a part of the 5 Links opportunity. That's what thousands of individuals realize every month when they join and experience the financial and personal freedom found with 5 Links.
Hey, double platinum. I'm just trying to get half a platinum.
Are you willing to pay the price to succeed?
It's not in you until you get to a national convention.
We have the best trainers here to help you learn, build, and develop your 5 Links business.
You're not into 5 Links until you've been to a national.
Can you feel some energy in this room?
For many of you, today is going to be the day that truly transforms your 5 Links business and your life. Let's take this company to $1 billion. I have never been more excited than I am for this weekend.
We've done good things. This is the year we're going to do big things.
And we have the best of the best here this weekend.
It's time for you to create your future with 5 Links.
No other company provides the opportunity that 5 Links provides.
This national is going to go down in history. When you leave here today, you are not going to forget about this day for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
You have not been in 5 Links until you've been to a 5 Links national event.